Wherever you are joining us, it is Mayegun Live. Thank you so much for joining me again, especially if this is your second time today, like a lady there, Latu, Aruna, and others. Tonight, I am going to share with you what they said Joe Biden and Kalu discussed on the phone for 30 minutes yesterday. The president of America, Joe Biden, reported that he spoke with Tinubu yesterday concerned to thank him for releasing the Binance executive representative that was kidnapped by Ribadol last year. No, hang on. No, it was this year, rather. February this year. And what happened? Nigeria, under Tinubu, after they came up with their murderous and then ruinous policies, decided to look for who to blame. Under Bukwari, they blamed those who were selling dollars under the trees in Abuja, and to save the Naira, Emefiole, with the approval of Bukwari, decided to cut down all the trees in Abuja because the Nigerian Naira was losing value, and it was blamed on the Bureau de Change or the people selling dollars and Naira under the trees in Abuja. That didn't save Nigerian Naira. But when Tinubu came in, he decided to also float the Naira on the advice of the IMF and World Bank, because Nigeria is almost the only country where when ships visit or batch in Nigeria to offload whatever is being dumped in the country, they always leave empty, including cargo planes too. So since Nigeria have nothing to offer the world except the crude oil, which has been so kind of like mismanaged as well, so they were looking for cheap loans. But there's no cheap loan anywhere without conditions. So the conditions given to the likes to Tinubu and his Oduduwa, Emefiole, Kadobi, as well as Wale Edun, was to go and float the Naira. But they didn't say that to the people that that's the reason why the Naira was crashing. They were looking for who to blame. Bukwari blamed the people selling dollars under the trees. He blamed the Aboki Forex online. And they blamed the PDP that looted the treasury until they had nobody to blame again. They blamed God. They blamed the weather. They blamed Amadioha. Blamed everyone but themselves. So in the case of Tinubu, they decided to blame it on Binance. They said Binance was trading without registering their company in Nigeria. In fact, Binance was the enemy of Nigeria. And some mumus, the voluntary slaves in Nigeria, believed them. In fact, they believed that arresting the Binance executive was going to arrest the devaluation of Nigerian Naira. It didn't. When these guys were arrested, Naira was around 1,100 to $1. After their arrest, their arrest, one of them escaped though, right? After their arrest, Nigerian Naira crashed to over 1,800 to 1,900, nearly 2,000, but it kind of recovered a bit when the Oduduwa, Emefiole, as well as Wale Edun started selling dollars themselves, turned themselves to Bureau de Change in Nigeria. Billions of Naira, of dollars, was shared to the Bureau de Change. Anyway, cut the long story short, they charged the Binance guys with money laundering and some other things, okay? Just because they said they were the enemies of the Naira then. So it didn't work. So last 2 weeks, the same Nigeria dropped the charges against them. And the Binance executive, the one that couldn't escape, or the one that did not escape, finally was put on a plane all the way to America. So Joe Biden called to say thank you to Tinubu. I can only imagine how awkward the conversation would be. But that's not the point. His own minister had this to say, giving us the backstory. They said that Joe Biden also called into empathize with Nigeria over the last few weeks flooding in the country that have seen many Nigerians dead, according to them. Let's start from that tonight.
I have been directed by Mr. President to brief you with regards to his phone call with US President Joseph Biden at about 4 p.m. today, where the two leaders exchanged pleasantries, and President Biden proceeded to thank President Tinubu for his partnership and for Nigeria's partnership, and in particular for the collaboration between the two countries with regards to law enforcement and law enforcement agencies, as well as the release of one of the suspects of the the cryptocurrency exchange company that we're all aware of here. And in response, President Tinubu also thanked him and the US for the partnership and collaboration in numerous areas, and also discussed the issue of collaboration with regards to security in Africa, and in particular West Africa. And President Biden equally assured that this is a partnership that will continue, and he stated, as a matter of fact, not just once, but at least twice, that the future of the world resides in Africa, which is why it was important for this partnership to continue. And the two leaders also discussed the issue of the permanent seats in the United Nations Security Council. And President Biden once again assured that the United States is committed to seeing Africa having 2 permanent seats, and also reiterated that he does not see any reason why one of those seats should not belong to Nigeria, given its position in Africa, its stature, and its importance. And of course, President Biden, as we all know, is leaving office very soon, as he's not contesting elections. So the two leaders also exchanged fondness for each other and their relationship, and the meetings that they've had, including the G20 meeting, which is another area where Nigeria is pushing hard to ensure that it becomes a member of the G20. And of course, they concluded by saying that they were looking forward to staying in touch, even though President Biden is leaving office. And it's also important to underscore the fact that it was made clear during the phone call that Nigeria is a law-abiding country. It is a country that is guided by rule of law, and we have our processes, and the United States equally recognizes those processes and respects them. And as a matter of fact, President Tinubu, during the course of the discussions, even mentioned the similarities, the fact that our system of government is very similar to the US system of government. We adopted our own system of government, having gone back to civilian administration and constitutional democracy in 1999. by adopting a US-style system of government. So rule of law is very important, which is why we have these processes, and the two leaders both assured that they will continue to collaborate in that regard. I thank you very much. Yeah, sure. Tinubu. I would say the discussions lasted for about 30 minutes. Well, it was certainly a situation where gratitude was expressed. But again, remember I said that we have processes. We're a country that is guided by the rule of law and due process, and that is what transpired. Of course, there were diplomatic exchanges also and discourse that resulted in resolving that, but it was not purely that. It was also Nigeria following due process and abiding by rule of law. Well, in terms of partnership, don't forget that a dimension of that is also the sharing of intelligence, which is very vital. Technology, application of technology, and of course, equipment, kinetic and non-kinetic, and training. And of course, the United States is also a leader in the world today in artificial intelligence. I would say that they're the #1 nation when it comes to artificial intelligence. And it is evident that the future is going to have, a lot is going to rely on artificial intelligence. So the sooner we get into it, the better. And the United States has expressed interest in working with Nigeria on artificial intelligence. I believe, if I heard correctly, President Biden also alluded to an upcoming conference or event that is taking place in Lagos on artificial intelligence. So we'll continue to collaborate in that regard. Yes. Well, I'm not an intelligence officer. I don't work in security. I think you're going to have to reserve that question for security agents and experts. Thank you very much.
Nuisance leleyi. Nuisance leleyi. Nuisance leleyi.
At least we don't forget. This is the caliber of people in charge of that contraption. Okay? I am so sorry that I had to make you listen to that. Because when I listened to it, I was trying to kind of make sense out of it, but I couldn't. So I'm like somebody who spoke for 30 minutes. All right? So you can tell it was just making things up there. Number one, let's agree that Joe Biden called to say thank you. Why is he calling to say thank you when you already dropped the case of money laundering against this guy? Your court said he was free to go. For 8 months, Joe Biden did not call to get an American freed, right? But let's assume that they have process, and the process is okay. He had to wait for the court, you know. So then another one was that Joe Biden talks about, security. how America will continue to partner with Nigeria on security. Baba, Nigeria has been battling with Fulani terrorists, Boko Haram, for more than 10 years now. What exactly is the influence of America in that? Here you get. So, to me, I just feel like he was making things up. Maybe Joe Biden called and it was like, hello, President Tinubu, how are you? Just maybe. Or maybe the whole call didn't even last more than a minute or two. Because Joe Biden also said he called. He called Tinubu to thank him for releasing an American that was locked up on frivolous charges, money laundering, and then cryptocurrency. They said that, remember that the reason why Ribadol kept the guy or kidnapped him was that they believed that those who stole Nigeria money, that they hid the money in cryptocurrencies. And they wanted to have access to the back server of Binance. They said Binance have to show them all Nigerians that are using their platform in the last 5 years. And Binance was like, of course we can help you if you tell us the exact people you are looking for. Here you get now. Let's say, when we're doing our investigation of those who stole money from Nigeria, we discovered that so, or maybe 50 people, politically exposed people, 50 of them, they stole billions from Nigeria. But we now trace that most of that money is hidden in cryptocurrency on Binance. Maybe you could just give them the names, and with a court, what do you call it? With a court order that says Binance should release those details to you. So if Binance now says no, for confidential, customer confidential law, we can't release them, Abi, then you can sue them or even fine them. Remember that this guy is fined Binance $10 billion. I don't know if you remember. Or how much was that money they fined them again? In the time of that madness, the Ronukus on social media, they were asking Nigeria to be like India, be like US, be like UK. All of them who have history of fining Binance for financial impropriety in their countries. So they were asking Nigeria to also fine them and ask them for money. Nigeria need money. Fine them 10 billion. They will pay, or else they should leave Nigeria. But last, at the back-end server, including those who they claim to have looted money from Nigeria, which they didn't name, nothing came out of it. So for 8 months, it was all just to make their mugus, their voluntary slaves in the contraption, to make them believe that they were working to save Nigeria Naira. Oh, Wale Edun was also in that space. So also he told us what Tinubu told Dangote, and partly I think what Joe Biden also told. It's all a pot of mess, right? But listen to this one. If you think that one that is Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tagiri or something, somebody said this one that look like Percy will be repentant Boko Haram, is a diplomat. Yeah, now the kind of diplomat where they get from northern Nigeria be that. So yeah, he's a foreign affairs minister for Tinubu. And then you have the finance minister for Tinubu, which is another dons, Wale Edun.
We have today had a session with His Excellency Mr. President to review the implementation so far of his bold initiative endorsed fully by the Federal Executive Council of selling crude to local refiners who then sell in Naira, who then sell their products in Naira to the Nigerian public. this initiative, which was initiated by Mr. President, was made possible also by the huge investment, the courageous and bold investment also of Dangote Group in a local refinery of 650,000 barrels per day refining capacity. To date, the implementation committee and the subcommittee have worked assiduously with all stakeholders, the regulators, NMDPRA, NUPRC, NIMASA, as well as MPA, NMPC, the Navy, and a host of other stakeholders to ensure that this important initiative is implemented, and it is being implemented as we speak. And what it has made possible is that now we have, and what made it most possible is that now we have market pricing of petroleum products. And relatedly, we have market pricing of foreign exchange. That has set the economy on the path to industrialization, because with private sector refining of crude oil, we now have raw materials, not just for agriculture, but for industry, for chemicals, for paints, for building materials, for textiles. And of course, this is Mr. President's strategy and his policy of making conditions ripe for the private sector to invest, create jobs, and grow the economy. Likewise, the market pricing of foreign exchange, the market pricing of petroleum products has also paved the way for NMPC to restore its balance sheet, restore its financial fortunes, and of course, to give the Federation, federal, state, and local governments more funding in order to allow them to meet their obligations, salary payments to workers, social services to the population generally, and of course, key infrastructure development. The economy has been set well and truly on a path, although it's early steps and there is much to be done, but we can now see a clear path to industrial development for modernization of the Nigerian economy, because the key prices are right and it is encouraging private sector investment. On that note, I believe that what happened in the meeting was that all committed to ensuring that this all-important effort is sustained, and that whatever the teething problems, whatever the initial obstacles to successful implementation of local sale in Naira of crude petroleum to domestic refiners, and the correlating sale of petroleum products in Naira is fully achieved. The determination starts right from the very top. From Mr. President downwards, there is a commitment to make this work. We had Afri-Exim Bank as part of the meeting, and Afri-Exim Bank is one of the financial institutions that will assist and actually be an intermediary to ensure that the parties, the seller of the crude, the buyer of the crude, are able to complete their transactions no matter the fact that the foreign exchange market is volatile and moves all the time. we have in the financial advisor and the financial intermediary a stabilizing factor that will help us to achieve the objective of ramping up stick production of refined products and the sale of those products into the Nigerian economy. Thank you.
Nuisance lelewi. Nuisance lelewi.
I don't know. I bet it that it's not just me.